What's up, ladies, gentlemen, and spooky skeletons? This is Chaos Muffins, or that guy on Twitter who is always saying, play Skullgirls. So, Skullgirls is nearing its last gameplay update with the second Encore patch, and it seems that things are really picking back up for the game, what with the increasing turnout at major tournaments, and with people finding interest in the game once again, whether they be completely new players, or people who are turned off by the vanilla and slightly different edition versions of the game. On that note, if one of your main issues with Skullgirls was how often it received balance updates, now is the perfect time to pick the game up. So the whole purpose of this video is to help clear up some confusion about the game. Notably, what makes the current state of the game so much better and different from Vanilla and SDE, how the combo system works with both IPS and Undizzy, why people say that the game is so reset heavy, and system mechanics that help you deal with the insane offensive pressure that the game is known for. With that said, know that this is not a video that will teach you how to play Skullgirls. It's more of a, this is why Encore is better than earlier versions and why you should play Skullgirls type of video. Now let's start off with something that caused a large number of people to quit Skullgirls in the first place. Double's Hornet Bomber. Easily the most hated assist in Skullgirls Vanilla and SDE was Double's Hornet Bomber. All three versions of the assist had some amount of invincibility during the move startup, and it gave the opponent a large amount of time to convert off the assist. This made an assist that worked as a DP, lockdown, space control, and combo extension assist. Thankfully, the assist has been toned down quite a bit. Now, only the light kick version of the assist has invincibility on startup, while the other versions have had their active frames adjusted in a way that makes it much easier to poke the assist during its active duration. The assist is still pretty good for lockdown purposes, but it's no longer an assist that was basically required in any team that wanted to compete. Currently, the contender for the best general assist is Big Band Speed Extend, but is nowhere near as powerful as the early versions of Hornet Bomber. Another important change made to the game was that the ability to double jump or super jump and call an assist was removed. This change, along with the addition of assist markers, makes it so that characters like Valentine or Fortune can no longer go up to a part of the screen where they can call an assist they can barely see coming. This also means you have to commit a bit more to your assist calls, as you can no longer just jump to a safe area of the screen that's hard to reach and call something like Seracopter or Butcher's Blade to keep your opponent locked down with little risk to yourself. In the early versions of Skullgirls, hitting assist did nothing special. However, now whenever an assist is hit by anything while it is out on the field, the assist will be locked out for an additional 60 frames once it leaves the screen. And that particular assist will not be able to recover red health for 300 frames after leaving the screen. What this means is that you have to take better care in protecting your assist and making smart calls, while baiting out assists and punishing them is now a much more valid tactic. Simply jumping around waiting for an up to hit your opponent so they can convert off it is not such great of a tactic. In the Encore edition of Skullgirls, when assists land the initial hit, any follow-up damage is immediately scaled to 66%, so you'll be getting a lot less damage off your combos once an assist hits. Additionally, any OTG state caused by an assist lasts for a shorter period of time than OTG state caused by the point character, so you have to commit more to certain assist calls if you wish to convert off them. In this example here, you can clearly see Beowulf recovering nearly as soon as he hits the ground, instead of having to wait a bit before recovering. While long combos certainly do still exist in Skullgirls, typically with the use of a lot of resources and under specific conditions, gone are the days of meter-positive touch-of-death combos that could take up to a minute to kill a character. Combo length across the board has been vastly shortened due to the addition of the Undizzy system, so now one can truly say that Skullgirls is a reset-heavy game when compared to the earlier versions. The infinite prevention system is still present in the game, along with a newer Undizzy mechanic, but there has been some confusion on how these two systems work, as well as why both are necessary for the game. So let's start off by explaining how the Infinite Prevention System, or IPS, works out. So IPS confuses a lot of people, especially newer players, But the golden rule to know is do not start a chain your combo with a move that you already used during your combo. And by say move, I mean any grounded normals such as, say Parasol for example, standing light punch, crouching light punch, and her command normal for light punch all count as the same move. So if you use any of those light punches during a combo in certain stages, you cannot use that move again, or at least start a new chain your combo with a light punch. So there are 5 stages to IPS. The first 2, stage 1 and stage 2, are unwatched, while the last 3 are watched. You can only trigger IPS in stage 5. If you look at the combo stage while Fortune is doing a crouching light kick, you can see that the combo stage starts at 2. While she starts with a jumping light kick, it starts at stage 1. What this means is that basically every jump in starts you at stage 1 in IPS, while every grounded normal will start you at stage 2, if that's your first hit. If you look at the little diagram in the center, you can see that buttons only start lighting up past stage 3. This is what I mean by watched and unwatched stages. How you change stages in IPS is by starting a new chain. And air dashing, as you can see here, advances you up a new stage in IPS because that's a new chain. So I'm going to do my usual B&B again, but this time with a jump in. Notice how I start at stage 1 because I start with a jump in. And also pay attention to the buttons that light up in the diagram in the center, and take notice of what buttons I'm using to start each chain. Notice for this combo that I start with 3 jumping leg kicks in a row. Again, that goes back to what I said about watching unwatched stages. The first 2 jumping light kicks are unwatched while the third one is watched, which means that after that point I can't use jumping light kick again. So this time we're going to use grabs to show you just how exactly changing combo stages works with IPS. Right here you can see that Philia starting off of a grab starts off in IPS stage 2, and that by coming off a crouching light kick she stays in stage 2 until starting a new air chain with jumping hard punch. This time, Philia tries to combo off her grab with her Ring of the Spike special, and by going from a special to a normal, which is crouching light kick in this case, she goes up a combo stage early, which ends her combo earlier. IPS can definitely seem daunting at first, but if you remember to keep the golden rules in mind, it's really actually not that complicated of a system. If anything, the most complicated part about IPS is stage 4, which is a completely optional section that's just triggered by an air dash. The Undizzy system that was put in after the SDE version of Skullgirls is actually something that's very easy to understand. Simply put, each button that a character has a certain Undizzy value. These goes by lights, mediums, heavies, specials, and assists. Supers don't add a Undizzy. Basically, you can't go above 240 Undizzy and start a new chain in the combo, otherwise you trigger a period where opponent can burst out of your combo. Undizzy naturally decays at any moment where the opponent is not in hit stun or block stun. But if the opponent does ground tech either forward or backwards, then their Undizzy value does get cut in half. If they don't tech at all, then Undizzy value stays the same, and while it slowly decays while the opponent is not in hit or block stun. The only time the Undizzy value completely disappears and resets to 0 is from the burst, which you'll see later. The Undizzy system is tied in with the IPS system, in that you only start building up Undizzy in stage 3, and that you can only trigger Undizzy in stage 5. Counter hits were added in with Skullgirls Encore, and while they not only give you a 66% damage boost with that one attack that you hit with, they also give you more Undizzy to work with in your combo. One very important thing to know about counter hits is that not only are you in a counter hit state during a move's active frames, but also during its recovery frames. This includes bursts. So now that you've had a simple and concise explanations of the infinite prevention system and the Undizzy system, please don't just think of these systems as ways to limit your combos. There are plenty of burst baits in this game for respective characters that can help give you an edge, both against scrubbly and very skilled players. I highly recommend looking into and experimenting with your own burst baits, as it really helps to make your offensive game more unpredictable, and they're actually pretty easy to come up with on the fly. Now, I've been asked this before, so some of you may be wondering, why exactly do you need both IPS and Undizzy in this game? Well, simply put, Undizzy does the job of preventing infinites already in its own. IPS just kinda makes sure that you stay creative in your combos, otherwise things would turn into something like that, just boring loop into loop. Now, if we went without Undizzy, you'd basically just go back to SDE combos, which you can see. This is a combo that would be possible in SDE, but it's no longer possible in Encore just because the Undizzy system exists. So think of it as IPS prevents boring combos or boring loops, and it makes you stay creative in your combo creation, while Undizzy prevents long combos, and long combos are reset in a long combo. I guess another huge change is that there are finally guys in a game called Skullgirls. But Chaos, the game is called Skullgirls, why are there guys? So what should I say? That is a very good question. That makes you wonder why. Why is it that in Street Fighter they don't always fight in the streets, or that why is it that in King of Fighters there are queens, or why in Melty Blood why isn't everyone melting and bleeding, and I guess some of them kinda are? Or why is the game called Under Night and Birth when that name just absolutely makes no sense? I can't tell if people are using that as a serious argument. I don't know why people still mention it, I'm just assuming it's all a joke, but yeah, there are guys in Skullgirls. It's all to do with the plot reasons and lore, and shoutouts to the lore. It has nothing to do with the actual characters, so yeah, guys. 5 guys, or 2 guys. So now that all that's out of the way, we're now going to go into why exactly Skullgirls is a reset heavy game. I'm going to start off by having Philia do a little B&B. So now that Philia is reaching the end of her Undizzy, she basically has to end her combo. One option is to go for a burst of 8 that the opponent may or may not fall for. Another option is to go for a reset after her full B&B, but because of how Undizzy works and how slowly it drains, she kinda has to keep resetting to get any decent damage. And then she decides to end in super and DHC to another DHC to kill her opponent. But now look at the meter deficit. We'll go more into the meter later. This time, Philia decides to leash up her Roger resets against the opponent. So one thing to note is that damage scaling works in this game in that the first 3 hits of a combo are unscaled, while max scaling gets reset at around 15 hits, I believe. If you look right now, you can see that Philia still quickly kills her opponent. So let's talk about meter management a bit. Obviously, because Skullgirls is a team-oriented game, meter management is very important. To put it simply, doing a long damaging combo to your opponent is going to give them a ton of meter while giving you little in comparison. While, as you saw in the example with Philia before, doing a lot of resets will give you a lot of meter while giving your opponent comparatively little. This time, I'm going to use my duo team to kill a character on the trio team using all of my meter. As you can see, or as you will see, the trio team is going to gain over a bar in meter, while I use up all 3 of my bars. Ultimately, while I personally believe that this is worth it since the character on the trio team is dead, I now have to kill the other 2 characters on the team with less than 1 bar, while the trio team has 4 bars available. Now, because I have such little meter, I'm basically forced to reset a lot if I want to kill my opponent quickly. Since we are talking about resets, I want to go into a bit how throws work. So every throw has a 7-frame startup and a 13-frame tech window. This is nice and all, but know that you cannot tech a throw while crouching. However, if you're throwing while crouching and then move your stick to a position that's not crouching, you can still tech the throw. Let's see right here. This is also a bit related to resets, or more so dealing with them, but Though chicken blocking is very strong in this game, and I can see why you would want to do it and go for it every time, up backing is definitely a good way to get killed quickly. For starters, within a certain proximity, any normal that an opponent does against you will keep you rooted to the ground, as seen by Philia here. Keep in mind that this only applies to up back though, and not for neutral jump or forward jump. Remember that you have to actually be close enough to an opponent to trigger the pre-block state. Unfortunately, this can be a problem from characters with some longer normals, such as Cerebella's crouching light kick. However, something like her staying light punch if she's close enough will keep the opponent rooted to the ground. If you see an opponent up backing and suddenly stuck in a pre-block state, you can act accordingly from there. Though Skullgirls is a reset heavy game, there are some people who prefer to knock down their opponents and go for Okizeme setups. Thankfully, that tactic still very much works in this game, though it's harder to get a knockdown in Skullgirls than say most anime fighters. Some characters such as Cerebella, Eliza, and Beowulf can easily score a hard knockdown from any combo and without meter. Other characters on the other hand, such as Fuqua, may need the help of an assist or require the usage of meter in order to score a hard knockdown. Because this is a team game with assist, Oki setups can very easily lead into safe 50-50s that lead back into another hard knockdown, or at least with Beowulf. However, the Undizzy system, along with the defensive system mechanics that we will discuss in a moment, help put a stop to the set play that you expect from this. Considering that the game is so crazy on offensive pressure, it is very important to have a good defensive game in Skullgirls. Thankfully, there are some system mechanics that make dealing with all of the game's 18-frame overheads somewhat bearable. All or most of these mechanics have been in since Skullgirls SDE, and while I recommend that newer players hold off on utilizing these until they have some sort of footing on the game, it is crucial that you understand how these mechanics work. I'm going to start off with alpha counters, since some people still seem to be confused by this system mechanic a bit. So, alpha counters are done by pressing forward and doing a tag motion while you're blocking. Remember that because Skullgirls is a game where you can choose your own assist, you can have some pretty interesting applications with your alpha counters, such as having your assist be an armored move or a command grab that you can alpha counter into. Do note that while alpha counters do not have their own invincibility period, or at least added invincibility periods, they do not have the 2-frame assist vulnerability that's typical of, well, assist. With this in mind, if you have the meter available for an alpha counter, you can very easily make your opponent go for a block string or any sort of extended pressure. If you ever find yourself falling for a burst bait, do know that you can actually alpha counter out of a burst. Of course, it still costs a bar, and when you do burst, you're using up all of your Undizzy, as you see it resets to 0 here. But you can make some pretty interesting applications with this. Push blocking on its own is a pretty simple mechanic. Press 2 buttons while unblocks done and you'll push the opponent away. Though there are some things I do want to point out about push blocking. First off, if you push block the point character, you'll push the point character away. If you push block an assist, you'll push the assist away. The main thing to note is that when multi-hit moves are thrown into the mix, you're going to have to vary your push block timing a bit. If you push block a multi-hit move on the first hit, you usually won't push the opponent away. So you're usually going to have to wait until the very last hit of the multi-hit move if you want to push block someone away. Push blocking does get more complicated though with its added mechanics. One vital mechanic that was added to push blocking is the absolute guard. In some other games it means that if you're blocking a multi-hit move and let go of the stick, then the game will auto-block for you, which is still in this game. In this game, however, absolute guard means that the game will auto-block any high or low mix-up for you while you're in a push block state. This is done simply by switching from a low block to a high block while you're in push block animation, or vice versa. Lockdown assist can be a pain to deal with how much they keep you in block stun. Though a mechanic called push block guard cancel can help cut down on that block stun and allow you to act in the middle of an opponent's pressure. The end of a push block returns the defender to a neutral state, and from this neutral state you can do anything from jabbing to jumping, even to doing a reversal. In the interest of time, I'll provide a link in the description that goes much more in depth on push block guard cancels, so you can easily see how effective of a mechanic this is, as it is crucial to defense and higher level play. Push block guard canceling is done by push blocking during block stun, and then canceling into a move as soon as your push block state ends. That's when you're at neutral. Though of course you can see that this is very easy to screw up, and not every option that you try to do out of a push block guard cancel is going to work out for you. A successful push block guard cancel is indicated by a green flash, so I highly recommend going into training mode once you feel like you're ready to learn how to utilize this mechanic. So let's talk about team dynamics a bit, since that is also a mystery to newer players. Solo is still considered the weakest of the three team styles, though that does not mean that solo is without its merits. First of all, no other team combination punishes mistakes as hard as solos do. Miss Fortune is able to kill Cerebrella with just one reset and 1 bar meter spent off of a simple reversal. The threat of playing against a solo lies in knowing that if you make one simple mistake, it can easily cost you a character. Additionally, solos are also HP tanks, and they've received a new mechanic that lets them recover a bit of red health to make them even more difficult to take down. By successfully landing a snapback, a solo instantly recovers 2/3 of his or her red life, making it even more difficult to take them down and giving them an incoming mix-up for only 1 bar spent. Again, showing just how much HP a solo has, this trio team has to spend 3 bars to take away only 1/3 of the solo's health, knowing that any attempt into a reset or extended pressure can still just be one successful reversal away from death. Trios have the least amount of damage and health out of all of the combinations, but the fact that there are 3 people on the team means that trios have access to more options and more opportunities than other combinations. Trios obviously have access to more assist options to help out with different situations, and simply losing one character does not mean losing access to any mechanics requiring an assist, unlike duos. Additionally, while there is less health per character, trios actually have more net health than both duos and solos. Even if you lose one character to a barrage of resets, you still have 2 other characters alive and an assist to back you up, and even if you get double snaps, not all hope is lost if you have a well-constructed team. The main problem with trios, however, is the amount of damage that they do. While they do have the most net health, there are also damage multipliers to account for, so it can take a while to kill a trio. It can take a while for a trio to kill a duo or a solo character, but remember that you pick those 2 assist options for a reason. If you are concerned about pure raw damage, I would personally recommend playing a duo or a solo. Though if you believe that having more options is the best way to go about things, then a trio is perfect for you. Duos kind of get the best of both worlds in that they gain access to team mechanics, and while they do not have the intimidating amount of health as a solo, duos can actually dish out more damage than the solo, with the caveat being that this requires more meter spent through DHCs. That is not to say that duos are better than trios or that trios surpass duos, but the best team combination is one that you yourself are most comfortable with. But when stocked with meter and with both characters living, duos are definitely the most intimidating of team combinations. The downside is that once a duo loses a character, the team is reduced to a solo without the raw health, or even the healing mechanics via miss snapback. So hopefully all of that was enough to show you just how much the game has improved over the years, and hopefully I was also able to clear up some confusion on various system mechanics as well as why there was even a point to trying to block in this game. The final point that I really wish to get across though is character viability. Skullgirls is a pretty damn balanced game in that every character either does the job they're meant to do really, really well, or they have a lot of tools to deal with a variety of situations. No character in this game is bad, and though not every character is Mike Z tier, every single character stands a chance at even higher levels of play. Combo Breaker just went down recently, and every character and team combination was represented in top 16. Considering that Combo Breaker was basically this year's ELO for Skullgirls with people from across the nation, and even out of the nation, shouts to Canada, shouts to Brazil, coming out to play. Sorry, that is pretty damn impressive. With that said, I'm not going to give out a tier list or anything because, 1, there is no agreed upon tier list, especially due to the amount of patches the game received. And 2, I don't want anyone thinking that they have to put X character on their team or play Y team ratio in order to compete. I can, however, give some recommendations on who I personally feel are the best support characters or the best anchors. These characters are Big Ben, Cerebella, Double, and Fukua, and I say that these characters excel as supporters and or anchors because of the wide variety of good assists they provide, as well as how having a chunk of meter benefits them. You can literally stick these characters on any team and call it a good team if you're having any doubts about your own team combination. So now we've reached the end of this little video and want to thank you all for taking the time to watch it. If I somehow helped to spark your interest in Skullgirls or helped make it a bit easier for you to get into the game, well then that's pretty damn spiffy. I'm going to flood the description with a lot of links that go more in depth on a few of the mechanics I mentioned, just in case you're still confused. And also provide some Twitter ads so you can go to if you wish to ask people for advice. They're all pretty nice people who are willing to help out, so go ahead and ask away. Some of you may still be wondering on which characters you wish to play in Skullgirls, so I'll let you know now that another group of people is currently working on Guilty Bit style character primers to help you guys out, so watch out for those. So yeah, it's been Chaos Muffins, thank you for watching, and play Skullgirls. 照らせばどんな暗闇も吹き飛ばす君と二人この河原で静かな流れ眺め飾らないで